Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. So glad you guys could join us today on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and on X. We're also going to connect with our friends over on IG, bring them into our chat, and then we're going to connect with our friends over on Amazon to introduce to some, to reintroduce to others, our guests for this next segment. As always, we do have the chat open for you guys, so feel free to be able to put your thoughts and questions in there. We'd love to be able to have you engage with us. And we're now live on Amazon Live with Cyrus Webb Presents. If you guys are new to us on the Amazon platform, welcome. Make sure you guys hit that follow button, though. It's either here in this corner or down below. You also will see the books, and there's a lot of them, from our next guest. We're excited to welcome back Dr. Teresa A. Smith, aka Dr. TAS, to our broadcast today. You know her as the author of books like Stronger. Also, she has books like Transformation. You guys can see right here. Also, we have the backsliding book, Transformation to Bounce.
Shade, he throwing shade, guys.
Dr. Todd Speaks. We got a cookbook over here, too. I got it over here, too. And then, of course, you guys see her before what we're going to be talking about today. Her latest book, you guys can see there, How Mama's Wisdom Unlocks the Secrets to Success in the Transformation Series. Dr. Todd, how we doing?
I am good, Cyrus. How you doing?
All right. Now, why would you say I'm throwing shade? That is the backsliding.
Well, you're right. It is the backslide. It's all in how you see things, guys. But he's right. It is the backslide.
So very excited. Oh. See, Todd thinks I'm late to the party, y'all, because I got through. I'd like to throw people off. She think I don't have this right here. Damn.
Oh, Cyrus. I'm like, well, he doesn't have his copy.
Yes, that trans. She has Stronger has a new edition, guys, and of course I have mine. I threw her off by having my old one up here, but let's start there, Taz, with the new edition of Stronger. How does it feel to be able to not only to revisit what was your first book, but also to think about your growth since that book released?
Cyrus, I released Stronger in 2017, and I cannot believe it's been that long, and it has been so much growth. Since then, and I only thought I was going to write one book, and here I am. I've written so many more books, and with each book, I see the growth, and I'm like, okay, God, you're still working on me. But then I think, okay, as He works on me, then I can help other people, and so it's like, oh my God, there's still work to be done. And so my message to people, Cyrus, is don't get, what is it? I can hear TD Jakes. Don't get weary. And I'm butchering now, but keep going. Don't get weary, because It takes a long time to evolve into the next version of yourself. And then for folks who think you're not being true to yourself, you're still being true to yourself, because we shouldn't stay stagnant.
Yeah, so true. Mr. Phipps, how we doing? I see you over there on IG. Glad you could be able to join us for this episode. So, Taz, a couple things went through my mind when I was prepping for today. First of all, again, congratulations on the new edition of Stronger. But I thought it was so fascinating when I was going back and reading this book and thinking about the first book, because of what you just said. And that was, you thought you were only writing one book. Yeah. But this is the book that you had to keep coming back to, even as you wrote others. What was it like for you to see not only the way your journey started with Stronger, but how everything you've done has led you back to Stronger?
Cyrus, I think sometimes we run and we're trying to run away from something, but we're actually running away for what makes us unique and what helps to continue to shift our evolution. And so for me, just like you, as I was rereading Stronger and making all of the edits, it was like, this is going to sound strange, guys, but it was like I was reading it for the first time. It was still fresh for me. It still resonated for me. And I'm like, okay, this is a message that's universal, that's timeless. And then I could see, Cyrus, if I was in my academic and was brainstorming, I could see how all of the other branches were springing from Stronger. And it's like, Teresa, you can never leave your story, because I look at my story as one of victory, not one of being a victim. So you can't leave your story, because your story is all about hope. And just going through it, I'm like, okay, I don't think that when I wrote the first edition, I don't think I realized that. It's a story of hope and how you can overcome so many different adversities.
Yeah, so true. Robert Christie, hello to you over there on IG as well. So I want to talk about one thing that you do address in the book. I'm actually going to read a passage, but before I do, I'm going to ask you this question, Taj, because I think what I have noticed, especially this year, as I've been going through my own transformation up here, as
Mhm.
I prepare for what I'm building, is that I realize that we spend way too much time thinking about what other people think.
Ooh, preach,
We
black man,
spend way
preach.
too much time giving energy and time to people who really don't matter,
Mhm.
and have never supported us, will
Come on.
never support us, and really don't matter to what we have going on. So I want to ask Taz about that, because you make a point in Stronger that your family and friends will tell people you're not weak. But what's it been like for you to realize that you also have to be careful not to give too much energy and importance to people who really don't matter?
Cyrus, now that has been an evolution. And let me tell you, I've always been on that journey, but I'm very transparent, guys. But I think I got tripped up when something that was good became became a became, let me use my sister, she would say it was a trauma response.
Okay.
And it was, but it was a good thing. And as a result, I was, even though I didn't realize it, I was concerned about what other people thought. But once I realized, okay, little black gal, you got to get it together, then it took time, because as you just said, what I'm building has nothing to do with this person, that person, whomever it may be. And
Mhm,
I have to understand that. And you just put transformation up. In order for me to transform,
mhm,
I got to get that in my head. And it was when we were doing the series with the transformation series stars, that's when I realized something was it had become my coping mechanism. And
okay.
then it has taken me a while to wrap my brain around it and to become okay with it. Because, like I always say, it may be good stuff, it may be something positive, but it doesn't mean it's positive for your life. You need people that are going to pour into your purpose, your mission. And as we talk all the time, iron sharpens iron. You have to let these people go, as TD Jake says, and it's okay.
Yeah. Earl, thank you so much for watching. Earl says, always great to see Teresa Smith, even if it is on this show. Um,
Thank with Earl.
well, Earl's just getting some sleep. He hasn't really he
I
doesn't
know.
really know what he's what he's
I
saying.
know.
So you write this in Stronger, and for those who have the new edition, it's chapter 7, discovering who I really am. You say this in the book, Taz. It is vital for us to understand that the response we receive from others is not always about us.
Mm.
Sometimes we believe that if someone is acting aloof or impolite, they must dislike us. Yet this is not always the case. That person may be exercising a bit of control. Now, we often believe that control is inherently negative, but the external manifestation of a controlling person may have nothing to do with the individual they are interacting with. Now, what you just wrote there, and then you ended up by saying this, Taz, the goal should be for each person to thrive and flourish according to how they are truly wired and created to be. I want to talk about giving others grace, but especially yourself, because I think a lot of times too, we do sometimes approach situations with our guards up because of others. It could be a trauma response, as you were talking about, but others, sometimes we just may think these people are just not good people. What has it been like for you to think about what other people may be going through, Ties, but also keep that in mind as you're dealing with other people too?
Well, Cyrus, what I'm having to learn is, one, I got to protect me first.
Hmm.
Me and Anjay, Real Talk Ties and Anjay, we good about saying, got to protect me. I got to take care of me. I got to put me first, Lucius. Taraji, if you got to put me first. And that is when you grow up in the environment that Miss Gloria raised me and my daddy raised me in, it's always about giving and thinking about the other person. So really, you taught me to sacrifice me. And so what I've learned is, and still learning, guys, that I've got to, one, observe what's happening, make a decision based upon what I know to be fact, not what I'm speculating on,
Yeah.
whether what's happening is about me, meaning something that I've done to them, or it's about them. And when
Yeah.
I realize it's about them, then I got to give them grace. because they probably don't even understand how they're responding to me because they're lost in their stuff. Just
Yeah.
like there are times that I'm lost in my stuff, I don't realize, because guys, I'm very type A. And when I work, I work. When I don't, I don't. But I work most of the time. So I'm very like that. So I may have an expression on my face and it's like, oh, something's got to be wrong. It's not. And sorry, it's real quick. When I used to do a lot of logistical things for Alpha Kappa Alpha for our conferences, regional and national conferences, you know, my sorors would say to me when I first got started, they would walk past me and they say, smile. They say, smile. And they said it so much, I realized I must have looked like I was upset.
Mm-hmm.
But what for me, I'm concentrating on what I got to do. I'm surveying the room. I'm looking to see where the gaps are. Have we caught everything? Have we planned for everything? Then I'm trying to say, okay, this room space is good. Then I got to go to the next space to make sure everything is in place so that when this event ends, the other event can start on time. It didn't mean that I was upset. It just meant
Yeah.
that I was concentrating so hard on what I had to accomplish. But what I realized is other people were reacting either to what they saw or those individuals that were saying smile, they were wanting to make sure that my demeanor didn't negatively impact others when I'm
Yeah.
just happy. I'm just trying to get my work done and make sure
Yeah.
everybody has a good time. But again, getting to a place where you can understand that's a balancing act. And I'm not going to take on somebody else's issues, though, when it is about them.
Yeah, I love that. Hello to you, Luana. Good to be able to see you.
Luana,
Luana says, "How are two of my favorite people doing today?" She also says, "Giving ourselves grace is so important. This enables us to walk in compassion and empathy. Such a great thing, and we all need it." I have transformation up here, but as I also mentioned, Taz wrote her backsliding book. I'm going to highlight it for you guys over on Amazon, and that is
yeah.
Transformation: The Bounce Back. I want to talk about that. You say something that is so interesting, Taz, and the reason why I'm bringing this up, and I thought about this when I was thinking about our conversation for today, about how we have to be so, all of us, whether we are full-time entrepreneurs, whether we are building brands, whatever our thing may be, even if we're just involved in the work that we're assigned to do, we all are walking on a tightrope where we can try to think we're being so quote unquote productive, we're being
Mhm.
quote unquote so efficient that we're really killing ourselves.
Woo.
And so I have these two books up here now because, Taz, you went through sharing with us, ironically, and I keep thinking about this. Taz began this book, Transformation, talking about change is challenging. And then in this book, she ends up telling us about how she crashed and ended up in the hospital. So
Yeah.
talk to us about that, Taz, what it's been like for you to give yourself grace, as Lawana is saying, but also realize your limitations too.
Now, Sasha, y'all know I'm very transparent. I didn't see something at work. I literally, I didn't see it. And then when it was brought to my attention, it was a written thing. When it was brought to my attention, this is real time, guys. When it was brought to my attention, as soon as I opened the email, I saw it. Well, for me, I was like, oh my God. But I have been seeing some little odd things with my vision. So I've got to make a doctor's appointment. But what I really think the issue is, Cyrus, I'm going to pick up the backsliding book. What I'm saying is that I think the problem is I've been overdoing it. Ain't no
Mhm.
thing. I know I have. And so my vision, I lost my sight, guys, when I was a little girl. So my vision is a very sensitive thing for me. I
Mhm.
can't overdo it. So today I pulled out the computer glasses because I'm looking at the screen so much. But on a deeper note, as I processed this the last 18 hours, Taz, you're doing the wrong thing. You got to
Mhm.
give yourself grace. You cannot run on 1,000 all the time in all aspects of your life. That's the
Yeah.
reason why you didn't see it. That's the reason why you go back and you look at something like, oh, I didn't see that I didn't put XYZ there. Or I'm blowing up the thing on the screen and I got large monitors because I can't see it. That's because, and I'm standing right in front of it, guys. Understand, it's like right here because I'm not taking care of me. And that's a problem. And yes, change is challenging. And we want things, Cyrus, but I think as I formulate this and think about it at the same time, I said maybe with Real Talk and TAS and Angelia this week that she said something about a plan. And I said, but it's always God's plan. And I think sometimes we want to get ahead of God and we just going, and we're not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
And we should stop. And I like that sometimes.
Sometimes.
All the time.
Well, I'm just going to read something else from one of Taz's books. So in Dr. Taz Speaks, this is what she says. This is her Empower Your Journey 31-day meditation. On day 30, ironically, it is work-life balance. And you said, today I will protect me. The affirmation says, to ensure my well-being, I will maintain a healthy work-life balance. And that, I just want to make sure, because, I didn't go to college. So an affirmation is something we say to ourselves, right? I want to make sure for our audience. So when Ty says this affirmation, to ensure my well-being, I will maintain a healthy work-life balance. How is your idea of what that means? How is it changed?
Well, Cyrus, it changes from moment to moment. That's Cyrus. He's just trying to. This is what you call real shade. But no, he's doing a good job weaving this, guys. It's changing, and what I want to say is, I had a good structured plan, but then I've fallen off. And so now I'm trying to get my routine back, because I really started out the second quarter of the year working that plan, that work-life balance. But now I've fallen off the wagon, but I'm getting back up because I'm rebuilding it. And it's very important because, again, our bodies tell us, and if you're like me, it tells me, but I'm just so out of it. Meaning I'm so focused on what I'm doing. I know it's telling me, I don't acknowledge it. But it is very important, Cyrus, and I'm constantly trying to figure out how to do it. Someone said to me today, and I told him, tell me, you need to walk away for at least 20 minutes every couple of hours, because I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You actually say in this particular message, Taz, creating a healthy work-life balance involves a continuous and intentional.
Yes.
Intentional.
Yeah.
Now that means something you really work on doing, right? Okay, I'm just trying to make sure. I didn't write it.
It's at the forefront of your mind, guys, is what he's trying to say. It's got to be at the forefront. Can't be an afterthought.
But the reason why I'm stressing this, hey, Robert, good to be to see you. Moses, hello to you. Hey, we have Aretha joining us also over on IG as well. The reason why, because it shows that all of us are a work in progress when it comes to this. And the reason why I'm stressing this with Taz, I'm really just having a little light fun at her expense. But it really does go to a bigger point that none of us can think we've outgrown the lesson.
No.
Right. So, Taz, it goes to something else you and I've talked about before. You've wrote these books to other people. What is it like to have to, I'm not going to say what Earl says I said to you. That's I'm not going to say it that way. I'm just going to say, what is it like for you to continually work these lessons for yourself?
Cyrus, I'm very transparent. I'm gonna rephrase it based upon what Jacqueline Thomas, who is my writing coach, said. She said that her characters called to her and to let her know that you haven't finished telling my story, and then she'll have another book that's about, it becomes a trilogy, and particularly with the Jezebel series. What I'm going to say is my book called to me. Oh, Jesus, he just dropped something on me. And they reinforce that I am a work in progress, and it's okay. You stay humble, honey. You haven't arrived. You are still on this journey of becoming the best version of yourself, becoming the person that I created you to be. So when my book's called to me, it just shows my humanity. And that, what is it? Man falls 7 times, but you can get back up again. That's life. And you don't beat yourself up over that. And the message for those who are watching us and who would watch the replay, you're going to stumble. Mm-hmm. Get up. Don't stay there. It's all a part of life. And you learn each time you stumble, you figure out something else you didn't know, and you're further along your journey. And we're going to continue to do that, I believe, until we're no longer on this earthly plane, because we should always be learning. But I will say this, Cyrus, as you've been, some things I shouldn't have to keep stumbling over. But what that lets me know is that's my Achilles heel. And that's the thing I need to focus in on, because it could potentially derail what God's plan is for me, because I haven't figured out how to balance it yet. And I recognize that.
Yeah. I want to say something to you, and I hope you will receive it in the right way. Because because I mean it to be something very positive. But I also want our audience to think about this too. It is so interesting. Everyone, this again is the first cover of Stronger. You guys can see it there. This is the new cover of Stronger here. So I want to ask Dr. TAS, have you given yourself the credit for the Dr. TAS you are here?
No.
Tell us why.
I think, one, my upbringing, but I can't keep blaming it on that. My upbringing, meaning we just didn't share it, get up, you got the accolades, but you just didn't, whatever it. I think that if I did, I might succumb to the human nature to think that you've arrived, and my drive would be diminished. And I know that may not make sense, but my drive would be diminished. And I don't want my drive to be diminished, because I know I'm just beginning along the path of what he wants for me, so that I can impact the people that God needs me to impact. And I guess it's also maybe my way that I try to stay humble. The exterminator came today, just a little while ago, and I was like, oh, look at this copy of something. And they said, well, is that you? Because your AI can do a lot. They were like, I didn't know you write books. And I'm like, oh, yes, this is a book that I'm working on. And I said, such and such had done this cover for me to look at. And he's like, I didn't know. I said, oh, I never talk about it with him. We talk about his mother. We talk about so many other things. He's in and out the house at least 4 or 5 times a year. And we have great conversation, but I never talk about it. And it's just, I don't want to get caught up in the hype, because I think the worst thing that could happen is me and Mama, I buy into my own cover story and I abort what God has for me. But on the flip side, Cyrus, I know also he wants me to celebrate my accomplishments. Right. Because my accomplishments should tell me that, Teresa, you're making progress. Teresa, if you can do it, you can show other people that they can do it too. It doesn't matter where you started from. So even that is a balancing act for me, guys. And really, truly, it is a balancing act for me. It just is.
Lawana is sharing Philippians 1:6, being confident of this, he who has began a great work in you is able to complete it. I want to dive into that with one more question, though, Todd, because I feel like in this conversation, something has come up, and I could be totally off base. I have no formal training in any of this stuff.
You do.
I just, do you feel as though when you think about the problems with work-life balance, do you think the time that you overexert and overdo, even when you know you shouldn't, has anything to do with feeling like you still have something to prove?
Of course. But I'm only trying to prove it to me. Mm-hmm. A great friend of mine would say, nobody's making you do it. And let me tell you, sometimes I'll be on the phone with Angelia and I say, such and such a say, because I know I should stop doing whatever I'm doing. And I'll say, such and such would say, ain't nobody making you do it. And I'll be like, well, yeah, you're right. It just be me making me do it. It's like, get a grip, Yeah. So yeah, I agree, and I'm a work in progress, side.
So then, with that being said, what would you say to our audience then about realizing that and how to address it?
Well, what I would say is if it wasn't even this, when you realize what the issue is, you got to determine how you're going to address it and
Yeah.
actually address it. I put band-aids on stuff. I've been putting a band-aid on it and then I'll get sick. And I've done this. That's my pattern. If this didn't just start, once I wrote the book, that's my pattern. I'll go, then I'm sick. I know that's my pattern. I have to figure out now how to structure my life intentionally so that I don't burn out and crash.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for me, it's a physical thing, but for you, it could be something totally different. But again, it's about keeping it in the forefront of your mind. And I guess also, Cyrus, recognizing, and I know this intellectually,
Hmm.
I don't know where the disconnect is. I think this might be the disconnect. I think I know it in my heart. Maybe that's the disconnect.
Uh-huh.
That Cyrus laughing at me. That she's making me laugh now. That you cannot grow into who you are if you don't love yourself. If you
Hmm.
don't understand that if you're empty, that's what I mean by loving yourself. When I'm empty and I can't pour into me, how can
Hmm.
I pour into other people? And
Yeah.
it's like I know that intellectually,
Yeah.
but the bad thing is I can pour into other people, but I can't pour into me. I don't know
Yeah.
what's wrong with my picture. Somebody help me.
Well, I mean, I think it's one of those things that for all of us, we all have something to work on. And
Thank
I
you.
think it's what it really does show though is that all of us are work in progress. And I think too people can look at you, Taz, all the books you've written, all the bestsellers, you have all these shows, you do all these things, and yet there is still something that you have to work on.
Yeah.
So I think that's the great lesson for all of us. Taz, outside of this, we really spent our whole half hour talking about the books, but you do have your shows that are on IG. You have the show you mentioned that you have with your sister, Real Talk with Taz and Angelia. Talk to us about how our audience can stay connected with you and kind of keep up with the network you're building over there on IG.
The best thing to do is just follow me on IG, Dr. Teresa Smith, and you'll see that I've got my Real Talk with Taz and Jerry. I do my Talk with Taz um, interview show live on IG. We have all sorts of guests coming from all different arenas. Also, you've been seeing snippets of, if you haven't, you will be seeing snippets of my conversation with Miss Gloria, who is my mother, who is a hoot and she brings laughter, and so you're going to see snippets of that. Again, just follow me on Dr. Teresa Smith and on IG, and then there's my LinkedIn tree bio, and then it gets you connected to my YouTube and all the other places that I am. But I like IG, and so I can say this. I was talking about this the other day too. You're just so good. I remember before I started doing live on IG, interviewing people, I had a wonderful person I was talking about who gave me a crash course in how to do it. And I didn't think that I could do it because I had never done it, but they gave me the crash course. And now it's like I go live with my cooking talk with Taz. I go live with Taz in the kitchen. I go live with Real Talk with Taz and Angelia. I do the Talk with Taz show live on IG. So now I just love IG because I get to interact with my audience just like you do during your interviews. I'm able to do that, and it just warms my soul and it keeps me energized, guys.
Love that. Love that. Well, we love seeing it. Congratulations to you, Taz. Hello to you, Julian. Good to see you over there on IG as well. Taz, really enjoyed this conversation. Congratulations again on the new edition of Stronger. If you guys have not gotten your copy of it, make sure you guys do that. It really is a powerful book. And all the other great books by Taz, too. I have to mention once again her cookbook. I'm going to highlight for you guys on the carousel. Now's the time. A lot of people are getting together. So if you're looking for a cookbook, this is the Transform with Taz Healthy Recipes cookbook. You guys can get the Kindle edition or the print edition like I have here. And Taz, looking forward to our next chat together.
Thank you so much, Cyrus, for having me. I really appreciate it. And don't be beating up on me, Cyrus, like this. Guys, he didn't.
Who
This is
did
just
that?
I having fun. I love
Tell me who
every
did
time.
it. Tell me who did it, Taz. I'll get
It
them for
was
you.
was me, Cyrus. Get me.
Well, look, it's all in love. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.